A lot of people ask me this question, what made me get into retail and why is retail so important for me? Honestly, I don't know. At that point of time, if I look back maybe 20 years or 30 years back, when I did my management course, I did all my summer projects in retail. Honestly, I didn't know that retail is modern, retail is organized, and retail is a science. But when I actually joined Corona and I had an option to either become a wholesale manager or retail manager, I chose to become a retail manager. I think that is where it started building up for me. And when this opportunity came from the Rahejas to actually run a department store from a theatre complex, I lapped it up. That time it was excitement, it was passion. I wanted to do something different, something new. Today when I look back, sometimes it may look that I took a big risk, but there's no reward without the risk. And probably this is the only business where if you have a strong heart, you believe you're a great marketeer and you believe you can turn things around, you should join retail or you should be in retail. The only business where you decide to take a decision today and tomorrow morning the customers give you the results. You don't have to wait for quarterly results or annual results for customers to tell you whether you've done a good job. You get to know it tomorrow. So very exciting, very fast paced, very detailed. You love it or you don't love it, there's nothing in between. I love retail and that's why I'm here. I see many positives for retail. Yes, there are very few pain points. What are the pain points? The first pain point is this is a capital intensive industry. There is a certain ratio which is available in terms of growth. If you have an X amount of capital, you can do 4x growth or 5x growth. If your margin is 5%, your growth can be equivalent to 25% or 30% of the revenues and not more than that. You can grow more than that if you have equity support and you have shareholders who are willing to risk. So first is the way you use the capital. Second is that this is not a business where you decide what the customer should buy. This is a business where you think that you know what the customers will buy, but the customers make the final choice. So your relationship with the customer is not a fly-by-night operator. You are building a relationship over a period of time. So your relationship with the customer has to be long-term. So those of us who said 36 months back that we are in retail and went all out to serve the customer, just because things went bad in the last 12 months, we can't say now we will not serve the customers. And when things become good, I'll come back and serve the customers. Now, that's not fair. So you have to be with the customer. So customer and customer relationship is very, very critical. The last pain point, especially of the last 12 to 18 months, is property is very key. And the property cost is one cost that you commit for the life of your tenancy or the life of the lease. So you cannot take a call based on mandi hai ya chadti hai ya it's going up or going down. You have to say that if you're going to be for 9 years in this property, how will the property cost work? So this is a business where you can be conservative on costs. Okay, maybe you can be bullish on your relationship with the customer, go all out and be slightly moderate on your revenue stream. If you're able to take care of these three things, you will probably not have as many pain points. Or if you have pain, at least you will know how to relieve it. Retail is such an action-packed business that you have many moments. If you ask me the 2 or 3 moments, 2 or 3 turning points of my career in retailing or my association with the Indian retail, I have very distinct memories. The first one was when we became a 2-store from a 1-store, when we opened Bangalore. And for whatever reason, we were not ready, and on the appointed day, we could not open the store. So we actually opened the store for 2 hours and closed it, and then opened after 4-5 days. That taught me a lesson that you can't do things at the last moment in this business. This is not a business of only execution. This is a business of extreme planning. That was my first lesson. The second was when we actually went ahead and implemented technology change, we implemented distribution center change, and we implemented a change of management. This was in 1998, and we opened Hyderabad, Pune, and Delhi and Jaipur stores together between 1998 and 2000. At that point of time, the decision was, let's get the technology, let's get the people. I think the business will happen on its own. Or maybe let's get the technology, let's get the money, let's get the people, it will happen. If I go back and I had to do it differently, I would first get the money, have the people, ensure that the technology is implemented, pilot it in a smaller environment before we roll out on a total basis. So the mistake we did was we rolled out across the country and we had a huge flop. The pain that we went through for 6 to 8 months was unbelievable. But during the pain, I also learned one more thing. Probably I was one of the few or only 2 or 3 believers who believed that we should go ahead and finish this implementation. There was enough that we had from our shareholders, from our board, and many of my peers and colleagues who said, let's drop this technology, let's go back to our old system, so what, at least today it will be alright. And my belief then was that today it will be alright, but tomorrow you'll never be able to do it again. So we went through the pain, we finally implemented it, and next year we came out successful. And today, a lot of people talk about Shopper Stop and its journey of a great technology company, a great distribution, logistics and supply chain business, and they call us strategist. Honestly, if you ask me, the strategy was in 1998. Today we are actually living on the glory of the past strategy. But these were some, or basically 2 major moments. Of course, the last moment that I had was last year, when in the downturn, we anticipated the downturn 6 months ahead, and we took a lot of actions, a lot of tough actions. We had to resize the organization, resize the office, look at cost cutting, look at business in a very different way. It was a tough period for me personally as leading the pack, but I had a fantastic team which supported me, and therefore the learning is, if you have the team and you have the will, you can do many things. And the best positive moment for me has been this year, when in August I stepped out of the operating roles and I had a successor in front of me. And what a pleasure to see a successor who's been able to take over from you, perform as well as you, are better than you, and you're still part of the business, but you're able to enjoy it and see it. And this probably gives me the pleasure that Shopper Stop is not a short-term story, but it's a long-term story. So some not so good moments, some good moments, and some great moments. Well, if you ask me to go back in time, what, 1996, 98? No, I will go back in time in 98, 2000, because 98 was when the trend started and Pantaloons started. So if I have to look at 2000 to 2003, 2004 and do only one thing differently, the only thing I would do differently is to look at properties differently. If our plan would have become a little more aggressive on standalone properties rather than chasing malls, because we were chasing malls and the malls got delayed, we did not open. It would have made a lot of difference. Well, today it's okay because everything is falling back in place. There are 8 to 10, 12 properties opening in the next 18 months, so we are okay. But if 2000, 2002, 2003, if we had gone a little aggressive on a property acquisition, probably we would have been 30 to 40% larger by business than what we are today. Rest of the things I won't look back to change, at least for the last 5 to 6 years' time. You're asking me 3 key success factors of retail? It's so simple. First one, customer, customer, customer. Second is location, location, location. And the third is detail, detail, detail. Let me share with you one anecdote which I can't forget. At about 9:30, I got a call from my store saying that there's been a mistake in our First Citizens event that we had. The last draw was supposed to be taken at 9:30 after the last customer has billed. So the last customer billed at 9:30 on the 4th floor. The cashier sent a message saying last customer billed, and we took out the draw. We forgot that the last customer who got into the lift had still not come down to put his chit into the box. So we had one customer left, and this customer was a First Citizen and he created a ruckus. By 10 o'clock, he had got about 35 to 40 First Citizens together. I was at home. It was a weekly off for me. I was sleeping. I got out of bed. I had to come back to the store. And except for a fist fight, we had everything that happened. But the decision was it was our mistake. I think the trip was to a Singapore or a Malaysia. I took a decision that I will give the trip, a second trip. So we'll do 2 draws for that set of customers, but only on one subject, that these 30 customers will have dinner with me. So I made them agree to have dinner with me. We got Oasis, which was below our store, opened. Got the Oasis owner to make Chinese food for us. We had dinner at 10:30. 11 o'clock we went back and took the draw, and we had 2 families which flew down to Singapore. Even last week in a conference, I met a gentleman who said, "Do you see me? Do you remember me?" I said, "Why?" He said, "I was one of those 30 customers who fought with you, but we still remember the dinner that you served." Now, it was very, very beautiful because there was a aggrieved customer. It was a mistake from our side, and we were fighting for our own mistake rather than saying sorry and correcting it. The third was, there was a beautiful lesson of relationship that I learned from that day. I mean, भूखा कस्टमर है, उसको खाना नहीं खिलाया है और उसके साथ में लड़ रहे हो, झगड़ रहे हो. And moment we actually said that yes, we are going to sort this out provided you have dinner with us. 30 of us had dinner. It was almost like a family event. So customers are also like you and me, human beings, and when they get upset, they can get upset, but when they love you, they love you. So on the floor, it's always love and hate relationship with the customers, but I remember the love ones which got converted from the hate. So love your customers and they love you.